Welcome to Art with Janine. Today we're going to be doing a painting that is called Vibrant Winter Sky. We're using the concentrated watercolor paints in cerulean blue, rose, violet, yellow ochre, black, and white. I have put a pea-sized drop in each of these palette holes and filled up the blue, the rose, the violet, and the yellow ochre almost to the top. But the white and the black only have a little drop of water so that they stay moist and not dry out, because we will want to use those thicker later. I have my cups of water, I have my 3/4 inch flat brush, and my size 3 small round brush. Today I may use this toothbrush as well. Okay, I also have a sample strip of paper and my 140-pound watercolor paper stuck down with the white tape. Okay, so let us begin. We're going to first use our blue paint to start a little sketch. So I'm just going to stir it up here. There we go. Wash my brush, dry. Wash my brush. And purple, look at those vibrant colors. Absolutely love the violet. There we go. Well, the rose is pretty impressive too. Let's see. Still quite dirty on the brush there. So I've mixed those up. Might as well get them mixed up to start. Oh, I might as well mix the yellow ochre too, since we're on a roll. There we go. All right, now we're all mixed up, right? So I'm going to start with creating the snow hills. And I usually say to my students, here's the first thing we're going to do. You got to find the middle of your paper and then go down just a little bit and put a dot. Now that's the hardest part of the painting. Now comes the easy part. Going to create a couple of bumps from here, one from here to the edge of the page, and then one from here to the other side. Now we're just going to do a couple of zigzag lines, and they're kind of wiggly lines that come from this. This is going to be the vanishing point in our painting. So we're going to create now a wobbly zigzag line that comes down to the front. It doesn't have to be that wobbly, but I'm just kind of emphasizing it. Here we go. And so we're creating a path that is open here and gets smaller as it goes back into the distance. Now I'm going to do something that I was taught by somebody a long time ago, and that is to turn your painting upside down to paint the sky. And I'm going to I'm not going to wet this first, so we're going to be doing wet on dry. But still we're going to have enough liquid to do a little tipping. So I'm going to start with my beautiful pink, vibrant pink. Also, if I'd wet the paper first, I might dilute my color too much, and I don't really want to do that because I want to keep it strong, intense. Here we go. Oh, I got a bit of paint on there that's not been mixed in. There we go, that's okay. We can come back from that. We just keep going. There we go. Got that rose, vibrant rose on there. All right, good. Now while that's still wet, I want to move quickly to the violet. And I'm going to overlap the violet onto the rose. There we go. Ooh, vibrant violet. And got to make sure my brush is super clean for the blue paint. Get my cerulean blue. Oh, that's got some lumps in it too, so you want to just quickly check that it's all mixed in well. Sometimes it's a bit cheeky. And I'm going to start further away from the violet for the blue first, because I don't want the color to suddenly mix without me getting a chance to do any tipping. So I'm leaving a little gap here. And then I'm going to work my way slowly towards the purple, because as soon as they touch, oh, you can see it, they start to sort of blend together. Here we go, gently touching the purple now. And so now comes the fun part. I get to tip my painting just gently down. I don't want to tip it so far that the paint runs down the hills. And then I'm going to tip upwards into the blue, the purple moving, and tip sideways. Oh, I just love this. Oh, it just gives some beautiful wispy movement to the clouds. And down a little bit more into the pink. Ooh, yeah, I like that. That's nice. All right, I'm going to take my tissue and I'm going to gently just wipe the paper where the paint runs down, so that I have a nice smooth effect. And I see that there's a patch here that lost a bit of its rose, so I'm just tapping some rose there and wiping off the excess as it runs down. What this does is it gets most of the liquid off of the paper and leaves you with just a beautiful, smooth, flowing sky. I'm going to just take the blue now, because it looks like it got a bit pale, and run some blue by tipping my board and touching the blue at the top here. You can have a lot of fun with this. I mean, you could do an abstract work where you're just tipping your board and just dripping paint down it. I've done that too. It's a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do that in another class. Okay. All right, now. That's good. So now I need to let this sky dry. While I let my sky dry, I'm going to work on the bottom half. So when you're working on a watercolor painting and you've got a wet area, you know, it's good if there's other areas you can work on while you give that space a break to dry. So I'm just going to add some yellow ochre down here to the path. I'm going to paint over the blue because it's quite thick, and it's going to kind of cover up some of that initial line. But what it does do, I'm trying not to touch that pink because I know it's going to be cheeky and it's going to run down into the paint of the path if I touch it. So also what I was going to say, I'm not so sure if I said it, is that the blue down here will become like a shadow along the edge of the path. You're not going to see it later anyways because I'm going to add a bit of black. So, painting my path. The paint's so wet that it doesn't really matter, you know, which way I'm doing my strokes, but you can do your strokes kind of horizontally, and that kind of goes with the look of the path. There we go. And if you keep getting wet paint and you touch the last bit of paint that you painted that's still wet and you start to connect with it, it can give you a smoother effect. Okay, so that's good too. Now this is actually quite a bit wet, sorry. So I am gonna pause for a second and let that dry a little bit more before I move forward. Okay, the painting is a little drier now. I'm gonna continue. I have this strip of paper here. You're probably wondering why. It is because I want to make a slightly lighter version of each of the colors in the sky to create a little reflection on the snow. Now there probably wouldn't be a reflection like that in reality. I mean, some places there might be, but I'm just doing it because it looks beautiful. So I'm going to take a little bit of I've got some water here. I'm going to take a bit of the pink and transfer it into this water here, just to create a lighter version. Then I'm going to transfer some of the blue into this water here to create a lighter version. And a little bit of purple into the water there. And I think I need a little bit more of the blue in the blue one. There we go. Okay, maybe a little more pink in the pink. Okay, so I'm going to test those colors now using this strip of paper. Let's see how different they are from the ones in the sky. That's lighter. That's a lot lighter. So we can actually take a bit more of the blue. That's okay. It's good like that. All right, purple. As you can see, they're slightly lighter versions. That's great. It's good to have a piece of, you know, scrap paper that you can test colors out on before applying it. So we're going to go with the reflection being opposite. So we'll start with the pink. It's going to go the furthest back on the hill and just have it kind of do it in a curved strokes so that it supports the shape of the hill. Like that. You know, you can think about it too much when painting and, you know, like I want to get things this way or that way, but you know, very often some of my students' work, most of my students' works turn out much more beautiful than mine because they just have fun with it. They're just having fun with their brush strokes. And that's what makes something beautiful. Enjoying it. There. We're going to do the purple next. That's going to go around the center. And you can go a little bit into the pink and up that. Purple on this side. You know, you can even use the big brush because you get more done with less strokes. Let's just see. Just do that with the big brush too. Kind of like that. So I turned the brush, so I was on the flat side, and then I turned it to the side to kind of get those pointy bits. All right, and the blue. Blue is down here, and there we go. Blue. I like that. Lovely. All right, now that is very wet, so I'm not going to be able to touch this area until that dries. But the sky is now a little more dry. So I'm going to stir up my black.